We return yet again with another delightful SOVPOD, sponsored, as always, by Arby's. It is, as Oliver Reed was fond of saying, tits.
Contestant number 1 is pretty cheesy. Contestant number 2 is quite the traditionalist. Number 3 is crispy, but also shy. Number 4 is modest, but knows how to have a good time. And contestant number 5 is mozzarella sticks. It's time to pick your 2 for 6 faves you crave. Arby's, we have the meat.
Shall we get started?
Sure. Here, I just gotta read these messages real quick. Oh god, he wrote fucking Spanish, which I don't mind, but then I have to translate it, and then translator doesn't really work very well. So sometimes I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Well, I mean, it's gonna get in the ballpark, Brad.
All right. Let me do one for you. Let me just do one for you since
Great. And take out the names or whatever, names or titles, and you can take that out.
All right. So let me find this, and then I am going to. Okay. I don't speak Spanish at all. Okay. Do you speak Spanish?
Is this some kind of trap to get me to say no?
No, I'm just asking. Like,
No.
do you? No. Okay. So, all right. So, I can't speak this, and I translate it, and I did, and it's check it, please, chill. It may be the quarry to get 3 series. Yeah, that definitely makes fucking sense to me.
Are you sure he's speaking Spanish?
Yeah.
Wake up, beautiful. The sun is shining, and we are ready to get the rays of SOV soaked up in our skin. We are not wearing SPF anything when it comes to absorbing shot on video movies. I'm Mike Delaney. This is, of course, THGSOVPOD. The POD stands for the. That's right. The pod. Pod the. One and the same. Ubiquitous. All around us. Yeah? We're all one in the pod. And joining me now forever and always is my man with he travels internationally. He's the speaker of so many tongues. Here he is, Brad Fuzzy Navel Henderson.
I do have a fuzzy navel. Thanks for pointing that out, Mike.
You say Mike like it's not my real name, or as it. You know what? You weaponized my name. You turned it into an insult. Is what you did there, and I worked it out on the air. So I'm going to cut this part out and just cut to me dramatically saying, "Fuck you, Brad. Fuck you."
Yeah, Mike.
Okay, Brad.
So what are we talking about here? This alien movie or something?
Hey, look, I know you got to get back to your wheelin' and dealin' over there, Mr. Kid Stays in the Picture, but we have a couple announcements here up front, okay? And we're going to take our time. We're going to take our time with this, like a sexy, non-specifically gendered, partner. We're just going to take our time. You know what I'm saying, Brad? You know what I'm saying.
No, I don't. I don't have no idea what the fuck we're doing. So what are we doing?
We're making some love to the microphones. You need to warm up. You're like, take an Ativan or something. Like, slow your heart rate down. You are pacing, sir. Are you ready for some announcements? All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Here we go. All right. Thank you. Thank you for being on board, Brad. All right. Last week, was our first episode back in well over a year, and we of course had the running joke that it was our first episode ever. We know it's not. A lot of listeners sent in emails wondering if we've been on drugs or if they hallucinated.
Almost lost
the last
Arby's sponsorship because of it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They didn't find it funny.
Right. But they do now, like they get it now. We took the time to apply context to the joke. You know, we live in this Twitter age, Brad, where everything's 240 characters, and even that, while limited, is still double what it used to be. So I guess baby steps, but everyone's used to such truncated information that they can't get jokes, and we have to explain them in these big ways in front of lawyers, you know, telling us to remove this episode from iTunes and that one from iTunes unless we gave context to the joke. So now here we are with the court mandated next 12 episodes of THESOVPOD. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was a joke, and now we're making good to Arby's, who is sponsoring the show. Court-mandated sponsoring, just in name only. Like, we're just allowed to make the joke now. So Arby's is sponsoring the show. And at the end of last week's episode, we had mentioned that we are going to be watching the McPherson tape this week, and we regret to inform you that, hey, you didn't do your homework. So pause right now. We're going to do the McPherson tape when you get back. I just wanted some dramatic segue into the movie itself, which is the McPherson tape, put out by AGFA and distributed by the lovely folks at Vinegar Syndrome.
Happy birthday to you. Wait, make a wish. Don't blow yet.
And then you can tell me. No, don't tell me.
Hold on. Oh, it's working. Forget it. Oh, swear to God, you're gonna break your neck with that thing.
I'm gonna break your neck. Holy shit, you're right.
What the hell was that? Holy shit. What the hell is that? He's got him! He shot one of them dead. It's right outside there.
Are you sure it's not back there?
It's not back there. I just took a look in there.
Then get out. And I didn't want to learn how.
But, I'm hungry, Brad.
Dooba-doo-wah, dooba-doo-wah-wah, dooba-doo-wah, dooba-doo-wah-wah.
Hey baby, I hear the blues are calling, tossed salads and scrambled eggs.
You know what? So am I. So let's take a break and grab our favorite snack before we watch the McPherson tape, or, you know, hey, eat during the movie, which is something that we like to do. So I'm gonna go back to when I very first saw. Well, you know what? I didn't see the McPherson tape first. I saw the remake, which was what was that called? Alien Abduction Incident at Lake County. I didn't eat the food after I fixed it because I was scared. Now that I think about it,
You were so scared.
I was scared.
No.
You know, I think
for that title, no.
I think you know, I think since time is limited on this earth, time is limited in every aspect. You know,
but time's also infinite, man. Time is like
we have to pick and choose
a construct
movies.
that'll last.
No, just be quiet. We have to pick and choose the movies carefully. You know, what we want to watch. You know, we don't want to waste our time, and we don't want to waste any more time. So the best thing to do would, for a limited time only, grab that Mexican pizza at Taco Bell and get ready to watch the McPherson tape. Maybe 2 Mexican pizzas and anything with potatoes, because our potatoes are already gone. I'm not sure. But
we may get Taco Bell tonight, being that I started talking about it. But yeah, as you know, Taco Bell would never ever be a sponsor for this show. We approached them first, obviously.
They're the best, better than Arby's.
Yeah, Arby's was a good second choice. But there's so many options at Taco Bell. But Taco Bell is very big with, stuff 35 millimeter, 70 millimeter. They don't care about stuff that's shot on tape. So,
bro, could you imagine some Taco Bell though with horsey sauce? Did we just unlock something?
So I would get some Taco Bell and get ready to watch some aliens attack a family.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I would recommend that as well. Mine's a little bit more time consuming, Brad. The snack I've prepared today for our audience and you, sir, you get a slice, maybe the first. You know how this last summer in July, like the entire month of July, we just spent it looking at real objects that then get cut in half and it's fucking cake. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, you're like, oh, look at that sick the PS5, that's so dope. And then, boom, they cut it in half, and you're like, what? Raspberry filling, that is delicious. Well, I was thinking about the themes of the McPherson tape and how the film itself confused a lot of UFO experts into thinking that it was actual footage, and we'll get to that, of a alien invasion. So I was thinking, oh, wouldn't that be fun to make a cake that's disguised as, and here's where it gets time consuming. Okay, so you want to make a cake that looks exactly like an in-law or a person you don't like that you have to interact with a lot at work. You want to make a head that looks just like theirs, okay? But first, what you're going to have to do is lay some groundwork where you explain to your friends and family that you're going to start getting into baking. Because if all of a sudden you could bake this head, then they'd be like, what the fuck? This will come in handy later. So then what you do is you do like a life cast of the person. You're just going to have to talk them into it. I don't know, like chloroform or... I didn't say Cosby, but you could go the Cosby route, okay? You're going to need a life cast of the person's head, and that's going to be our mold, okay? Whatever. They'll write that out. Just tell them, first thing you need to do is community college video class, and then what you do is you say, oh, you're going to be an actor or a cast for this monster mask for the video production class. Anyway, you got to come up with something because it's vital to this. Then what you do is you let other people, not the person you did the cast of, but you let other people know how much you hate this other person, this family member. And then you open up fake social media accounts as this person, and you start harassing you, but it's like you harassing yourself. It's kind of like Freudian and deep when you think about it. But then what it does is it provides you evidence, okay, that this person is instigating with you. And then you rally it up from there. I'm talking weeks or even months if you're really into this, because the final payoff has to be when you come home to your wife or your partner and you bring them the head, right, of the person that you said you hated, and then they're gonna freak the fuck out. And like, if they're smart, okay, they're gonna remember July, and they're gonna try to cut into that head to see if it's a cake. But look, chances are they're not that smart. So you're gonna get picked up for manslaughter. You're gonna get taken down to the station. You're gonna get arraigned. Don't say anything yet. Wait until you see the look on the coroner's face when he cuts into that cake and they have to bust you the fuck out of jail. You go straight down to the morgue, man. Enjoy a piece. Anyway, I did that today. I got released. I had my calendar clear, and here I am with my cake.
Wow, that's crazy. All right, so moving on to the movie here. When was your first time seeing the McPherson tape, or did you see the UFO alien abduction at Lake County first?
I had heard about the McPherson tape I had never seen it until the recent AGFA release. I know I'm such a McPherson virgin, you know. But Brad popped my chair with it, so that's fantastic. And yeah, I'd only seen clips of the other two.
Yeah, my first time, and I'm guessing that it was Alien Abduction at Lake County, so the remake of the McPherson tape. I'm sure that's what I saw, but I would have been 14, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because at 14, I wasn't really afraid of stuff like this. So it's very unclear, and this is the reason why I'm not sure exactly what I saw. Because if you don't know that, for our listeners, Alien Abduction is pretty much almost a shot-for-shot remake of the McPherson tape. So I remember being over, my parents were playing like cards with one of the neighbors, and I went over there with them, and I would just watch TV in their back room. And I was just flipping through the channels, and I witnessed this movie, whether it be the McPherson tape or Alien Abduction. And it didn't have any commercials in it. So it would have had to been, you know, Skinamax or HBO or something of that nature. And what I was seeing on screen was actually legitimately terrifying me. Because in my mind, and this is the reason why I don't think it was Alien Abduction, because that would have been 98 as well, which would have been very late. I believe this would have been early 90s. That it really, really like made me genuinely scared. I was afraid of what I was seeing. I thought I was actually witnessing a real alien abduction, true story. And it really, there's also another sequence, and people say it's from X-Files, that I remember seeing that really kind of scared me a lot. But this in particular sequence really affected me quite a bit. And go years and years later, in my 20s, I was talking to a couple friends, and we were talking about making, you know, short films and movies and everything. And I told them, I said, hey, I had this really crazy idea. Now, keep in mind, I was blocking this out pretty much this entire time. I was really afraid of the images that I saw. And so I somewhat blocked it and then forgot about it. And I was explaining to my friends, I said, hey, you know, we have this big field. What if we like get together, we get a home movie camera, and we're at this party and we're recording, and then we see like this flash, and we go down to this like ravine area, and then we, you know, see a big light and aliens, and then we get attacked through the night. And my buddy said, yeah, that's the McPherson tape. Why would we copy that? And I was like, what? The McPherson tape? And he said, yeah. And I was like, oh shit. And I went ahead that night and I watched it. And I got chills all over again. I was like, holy shit, this is what I saw. And, you know, I can't really tell you what version it was. But the thing that affected me the most, which I think is the best sequence in the film, is with the little boy in the room who's backing up, and the aliens are inside of his bedroom when he's, you know, have to change because he pissed his pants or whatever. So that kind of scarred me. That was the history of the McPherson tape for me. I saw it, and then I forgot about it, and then I saw it again, and then I genuinely really loved it. The only thing that's really scared me through my life are aliens, like you know, thinking that there's something out there.
Sure.
Anything, fire in the sky, that's not you know, Independence Day aliens, but you know, Slow, the Greys, Whitley Strieber stuff, those movies, those books, they definitely impacted me quite a bit, to the point where I really got into aliens at one point. Not like I'm a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. I just think they exist, and whether they look like the Greys or not, I think the Greys is one of the scariest interpretations of alien life forms if they did exist.
Well, sure. I mean, as human beings, I mean, our brains are trained to recognize like things that are filled with information, and when you see the Greys, right, they're like completely devoid of any kind of expression. They're just a void themselves, and I think that's what's so creepy about that image, is just they're void of color. They're void of like a form just outside of a general like humanoid shape. Their eyes are just deep and black, and it just looks like that's why we're so scared of those serial killers with black eyes, because you're like, oh my god, it just keeps going deeper and deeper, and it's this vast. Anyway, about conspiracy theories, Brad, I wanted to ask you though, how for one, I was going to ask you about if you had any conspiracy theories, and then two, it was going to be what are your thoughts around the Black Forest theory or the Dark Forest theory?
So conspiracy theories, no, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I guess you could say. Is that what they're called? Conspiracy theorists? Anyways, I don't really believe in that type of thing. I think a lot of things are made up. There are a couple things that I do believe, but I'm not really going around with an online forum or a group on Facebook that believes it. And by dark forest, black forest, that's not the suicide forest thing, right? What do you?
No. So there's this. I was reading about it recently around research for this movie, but there's a theory going around with UFO conspiracists conspire. There's a theory going around that called the dark forest theory, and the idea is that Earth and our knowledge of what life is limited to this Earth, right? And then the universe, as far as man can reach it, or woman, or as far as they could reach it, right? Everything we know, boom, there's even more, right? And we're in a it's like we're in a dark forest. And when you're in a dark forest, the last thing you want to do is start hooting and hollering, right? Because then the wolves will know where to come. The vultures will know where to wait for their next meal and shit. And the dark forest theory people, they believe that since we started broadcasting these signals to outer space like 100 years ago, like in our time, going back to time just being a concept, Bradley, in our time, that could be like on the small end of like them receiving the signal, the 100 years, like they might just now be getting it. And if we're out here in the middle of a dark forest shouting, we better hope, and that's what these theorists say, we better hope that they're not the aliens from Independence Day.
Oh, that would be terrible. But yeah, no, I've actually never looked that up, but I do find conspiracy theories interesting. I love to deep dive into kind of the weirdness of the things that people believe. So I'm always open to listen. I necessarily don't believe in any of that for the most part.
So you don't follow QAnon or Pizzagate?
I honestly didn't know what Pizzagate was until recently, because I must have missed that. And I just thought it was like a pizza thing. And then I read about it and I was like, oh, okay. But no, I don't really, I do deep dives every once in a while on something. But aliens is something that I really have read about quite a bit and have researched. And I do find a few things interesting, whether I believe them or not. I love there's a really good documentary called Mirage Men about how the government has tricked people into being even crazier that have witnessed UFO activity. They were like basically planted there to, so basically if you're, you know, in a somewhat, let's just say everybody says rednecks or hicks, for example, that get abducted or see some aliens in their farm, or, you know, some cow mutilation.
You got a little twang there when you said abducted. You said abducted. You've heard that.
That was the point. So, you know, let's just say Billy Joe Smith, you know, says, oh, hey, I saw, you know, some lights in the sky, and I called this radio station and I reported it, and, you know, 3 other friends saw it, that type of thing. Well, what would happen is that the government was on the lookout for this activity. And if they heard about Billy Joe seeing something and it actually played out to the research that they put into it, they would go near Billy Joe Smith and fuck with him more. So it would be not fuck with him more, they would just fuck with him. So they would, you know, with signals or lights in the sky, they would get him so worked up that he would talk about it a lot, developing him into a crazy person that we would just dismiss.
Right. It's just another way too that the government suppresses people without wealth, right? Because I'm sure the government's also defunding their schools because they don't want them to get intelligent enough to realize that these aliens are real, and that the government has suppressed that information. At least that's what I'm positing here.
So, but anyways, you know, there's a few documentaries about that, and, you know, Travis Walton with his story, you know, reading about that, which is obviously based on, you know, the Fire in the Sky deal. I do enjoy that stuff. So I've always really liked the McPherson tape and the alien abduction because it did feel real in the sense, for the most part. And you know, it's kind of funny because we're talking about this real life stuff, and this is where there's still I don't know if it's a big group, or I just know it's a group of people that really do believe that McPherson tape is real footage that has been exposed, and then Hollywood has put a director's name on it and has faked this quote unquote movie to pass it off, so no one really takes it seriously. And this is a fact from Dina Alito, who is the director of the film, who made the film at a very young age, who still gets letters, basically an email stating that he's a fake, that he's this person that works in Hollywood that was paid off to put his name on this real abduction. People really do believe this, which is like one of the craziest things. And if you do look online, you know, if you type in real alien abduction, the McPherson tape, part of it pops up, like the kitchen sequence with aliens coming out, which is somewhat comical. Not scary at all. I do find the remake a lot scarier. But the group of people that believe these 2 films are real is insane, even though a couple of the actors went on to do more things and you could see them. And I know in Alien Abduction, County Lake, what's her name? Emmanuel Shakiri, I think it is. She played an Entourage. You know, so she was E's girlfriend.
No, Bradley, those are professional paid actors who are crisis actors, okay? We've morphed, okay, from doing, you know, the silly stuff we used to do in the 80s and 90s around with what movies and Bigfoot and whatnot. We've dispelled a lot of those myths. So now what the liberal media is trying to do is they're trying to infiltrate their ideas into the news, which is entertainment now. Right. So they pay people to say they were shot at, you know, at a school, and there was no shooting at a school. This is just what we're seeing now. This is yes, that is what happened.
But, you know, I know that you're joking around and being silly, but there's a lot of like weird truth to kind of how these things, you know, play out, and how, you know, a simple clip can
Sure.
amount to so many theories and made up bullshit.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why the good rule of thumb was always don't make a Blair Witch style shot on video movie about pedophiles in the basement of a pizzeria, and then the text version of that happens on Tumblr or wherever, and look where it got us. So I can see the danger of telling people that aliens are real. Look what happened with Orson Welles. Of course the government's going to protect us.
Yeah, and funny that we're talking about this in 2020 when we had that footage released, and I'm trying to remember the name of the papers that the CIA released.
Just as last year.
It was like maybe a couple years. What was it? It was basically they released all these documents. And it was a collective of many, many things, but there was stories about UFOs in there.
Right, but if that happened during the Trump administration, and it has, it gets buried on page 10 because of all the other crazy shit going on.
Yeah,
but
we
the New York Times did
that.
Yeah, the New York Times did a big story in December around the fake impeachment, and this fake impeachment or whatever was the top story. But I'm like, if you look at page 7, they're telling us that aliens exist.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun, and it doesn't scare me at all. I just find it all very fascinating because it's not like that stuff would be foreign to me. It's not like I have thought for years, oh, this is fake, and then all of a sudden, it just pops out, and I'm like, oh shit. No, it's like, why wouldn't there be? I mean, that makes total sense. As long as it's not a war or destructive, I think it's a really cool thing that happens. They mind their business, we mind ours. But, I wanted to go back to what you're saying. We're going a little off topic on this.
No, we're not. Have you listened to this show?
It's weird when you say that, you could have piles and piles and piles of footage of something, and immediately we have this group of people that dismiss it, saying, oh, that's fake. Or oh, yeah, crisis actors. But then you have something like a really a tragedy that happens where there wasn't any footage, and then the whole thing is made up. Where's the footage?
Right.
Where's the pictures? Just, I mean, a good topic, which is one of the most terrible tragedies that ever happened, was the Sandy Hook massacre.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, where's the pictures? Where's the footage? They're not gonna fucking release that.
Right. Or pull Stand By You. Right.
Yeah. It's who's walking around with a camera recording that stuff. Sometimes it does happen, but it doesn't make it true or false or whatever it may be. The footage is there, and
right, and people at a club don't have their phones out like they're at the Ariana Grande concert, in France.
Well, there was footage of the Pulse shooting, and you could hear the gunfire in the background. But it's what I'm saying is that it's weird that you have it. It's like picking. It's just picking and choosing. You have this footage of this real event. Oh, crisis actors, it didn't happen. You have this event where there's no footage. Oh, there's no proof, so let's move on. And then you have a movie where it's that's real footage, that really happened. And it's almost like the exact opposite every fucking time, and it blows my mind.
It's weird how people are starting to bend over backwards to explain themselves out of how they should be perceiving something. Like we tell people all the time, oh, if you see something, say something. Okay, let's say it's sexual assault or harassment. Then you say something, right? And then, well, did you hear what came before? Did you hear what came after? And it's like, no. Do I have to hang out all day? I saw something and I'm saying something, and then based on another person's perception, we suppress it, right? Or we amplify it. like the Pizzagate thing. Like that dude like really was getting worked up because it said pedophile, 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 and that dude really thought he was going to be Superman and go in. He legit thought there were kids getting molested there, so he went in there. If he's like, no one else is going to do it, you know. But again, he chose that was true information, and this is your point, right, Brad? Is he chose to believe something that was false information was true. So yeah, making that connection to a movie is much more harmless, but I mean, facts speak for themselves. So if there's some mailing addresses and shit and a director's commentary, maybe just, you know, pump the brakes.
Yeah, and I do find another thing interesting is how people do pick and choose what they believe is real, what's not. You know, everything from the Twin Towers footage to being CGI to, you know, the McPherson tape being real footage. Both are insane to me and the complete opposite. I don't know. It's just, I find all of it very, very interesting as far as how...
But that's how people deal with tragedy and what they can't explain, right?
Yeah.
Like something so insane happened to the world or happened to them, so... they come up with this equally insane explanation.
And we're talking about a certain group of people here, you know, that could be crazy for the most part, or wanting. Like, there's a lot of people that I believe that want to go against, like, the polar opposite to what's actually happening.
Like, the contrarians.
Yeah, but it's to the point where it's extreme. Like, to the point where people are, you know, dying. And
right. It's like your Lindsey Grahams of the world, your Matt Gateses of the world.
Yeah. So, but that said, I mean, this is something that the director has faced his entire life is a group of people that, you know, called bullshit on him, stating that, you know, and I've talked to Dean about this, you know, for in length multiple times. He's a very funny guy, and he enjoys making movies, and he loves movies, and he is still very fascinated from the amount of people that tell him that he's a liar, giving him death threats to tell him that he needs to tell the truth. You know, these people's lives are, you know, they're destroyed or they're dead or they're missing, and he's part of this big government cover-up that he got paid off. And it's like, man, that's crazy. Like that's but we're still dealing with it. The point of bringing all of this up, from Sandy Hook to the Twin Towers to all this footage that's in the news today, how people react to tragedy and news is still kind of crazy. You know, but it's never changed. It hasn't changed. It's just everybody is able to talk about it more because of social media and having platforms to talk and say things. Before, it was mainly just probably in their own homes or over, you know, AOL dial-up, and they saw this footage, you know, on YouTube when it wasn't, you know, what it is today, and thinking, oh shit, this is real, or they believed it. You know, the other thing is maybe the research and IMDb wasn't there to find out that the McPherson tape, this tape that was, you know, exists, was a fake thing. So why wouldn't you believe it? But comes a time where it's like, oh yeah.
I was on IMDb trivia last night for the Kazoo kid, and you know, it said that he had a relationship at the time with the spirit ghost in the video, and I know that that's not true. So even if it said it on IMDb, come on, it's still fake news.
So yeah, I find all of it interesting, and you know, yeah, just do your own research and read about kind of what he faces. And it was funny
because I wasn't actually at the screening at Fantastic Fest for the McPherson tape, just because I've seen it a few times and it was playing up against something else. But so what they did is that, you know, Dean got pulled to the stage, you know, to do the Q&A. And there was somebody I believe it's probably on the disc. I'm not 100% sure. There's somebody in the audience that says, bullshit, this is real. And, when I heard about it, I was like, oh shit, there was somebody there, but it actually turned out to be one of the actors. That was just kind of a funny stunt that they were trying to do. But
the government flew him out to keep it going.
Right. But that's the reason why Dean wanted to do that, is because he is met with that still to this day. And even like, it's funny being that we have all this stuff and we've somewhat grown as a society, and watching this clip, you can easily watch the McPherson tape and laugh at some of the stuff that's going on. I don't know why you would believe it's true to begin with.
Sure, but to your point, if you're a kid, in the late 80s, early 90s, stumbling around UHF and this comes on, I mean, you have a reason to be scared.
Yeah, but I think I think it's cool to be scared and then learn about this stuff, and I think it's fascinating. But if you still believe it's real, then there's something that you probably need to change in your life. But on to the movie. To get away from all the conspiracy junk. The movie's very, very interesting because Dean made it as such a young age, and being the cameraman in the film, kind of just recording this birthday party. The birthday, and basically the end of the night. And then, of course, like I said, they from what my story was that I wanted to do, they hear the noise in the back, and they go and they see it's a UFO with the grays coming out, and then they're attacked in the night, and have to board up the windows and whatnot, and quote unquote survive this alien attack. But it's very, very effective. It's very well done because we're giving this found footage aspect in 1989, which predates the last broadcast and predates Blair Witch. That this kid who was, I think Dean was like maybe 15 or 16 at the time. You'd have to look that up. Don't quote me on that.
Well, I believe he'd be 16 because, in the commentary, he talks about his character because as the point of view of the audience, he wanted to make sure that he was bringing something behind the camera to give character to that point of view. And he said he was a 16-year-old cameraman who had just gotten, his VHS camcorder for Christmas. It was like a really big gift because I guess his parents had just gotten divorced, and and Dean says that this movie, one of the themes running throughout is divorce and separation.
Yeah. No, I remember hearing him talk about that. It's interesting because if you break it down, one of the very first found footage movies, an alien abduction movie, the content of the picture, him being so young, kind of really neat. A lot of firsts with this. And,
and you mix it with a new medium with, full-length movies shot on tape.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is one of the very first ones. Everything from being shot on tape to being found footage. Very, very interesting story of how this somewhat got buried for the most part and it wasn't even really a movie. That if you would kind of look back maybe 10 years ago to everything, 15 years ago of this footage, that's what it was. It was just footage. It really wasn't quote unquote a movie. And now it is, obviously. It always was a movie. But, it's funny that you make something, it's basically one of the very first things that went viral for such a young kid. This footage being passed around, getting into a market where it was perceived as real footage and being kind of this urban legend, somewhat, truther video.
Even the film we watched, though, isn't the original version. Wasn't the master of the original lost in a big warehouse fire?
The original footage is, so it's basically just passed down copies I believe. So the master is actually gone. But yeah, it's when I guess he sold it, and then the distribution company had the tape, the master tape, I think, like the 1 inch, and then that got destroyed, and then
Right, but he had all his like original shit that he had filmed. He had those tapes. He didn't have just the final edited together one, so he had to reconstruct with all the tapes he had.
Yeah, well, that. I mean, that's kind of even a cooler story of being able to keep this up, and being able to kind of rescue your own movie. I think another interesting portion of this, and something maybe we haven't talked about, is the lack of credits in the movie, to where this was being passed off as something that was real.
Yeah.
I mean, can even go back to the Charlie Sheen guinea pig movies, to where he thought, because the original, some of the distribution for that, if you want to call it that, was blank videotapes, what looked like blank videotapes with the footage on it. I don't know if Charlie Sheen got a hold of that exact copy or a DVD with just the footage with no credits. That was being passed around as a real life snuff film. Faces of Death was even another one where people were apparently getting killed in real life, but obviously it's not. It's a work of fiction.
In the age of COVID, can you even think about exchanging anything with Charlie Sheen? I heard you continue talking, but my brain was trying to wrap my head around what must be on that tape when it's handed off. Because he's not getting it from, John Cryer or whoever. He's getting it from his Heidi Fleiss peeps,
Yeah. And another thing, I to jump back into kind of the making of this, we call this the McPherson tape, but the last name of the people that get abducted are not McPherson. And, I find that very, very funny. It's known as the McPherson tape, but it's was it Van Hees is the name of the family? Van Hees, something like that.
Well, it's made even funnier because on the AGFA release, it credits the family as being named McPherson.
I actually said something about that when the QC was going through with the back. I said, wait, just to say something, like, it's actually not the McPherson family. But I guess AGFA was just wanted to keep it kind of, keep that kind of mythical thing going. I don't know what you would call it, but they just wanted to kind of keep rolling with the fact this is the truth. This is what it's called. But yeah, it's the family's now the McPhersons. But
yeah, I mean, it has a reversible cover that says alien abduction,
So but I
you're
think,
why are you, no, hold on, Brad, because you're not off the hook yet. Why are you so quick to correct AGFA's cover, in calling them out on it? But when I, point out a misprint to you on a VS title, you're just like, oh, you fucking nerd, you stupid nerd, complaining about everything, nerd.
I don't think I've ever done that.
Okay, well, I'll find it. So
find it and send it to me, because everybody makes mistakes. So yeah.
That's so funny. No, do you know what it is though? It on the bottom of the rad slipcase, or not slipcase, on the insert, it says directed by Hal Needham, but the word by is as big as Hal Needham, so it looks like his name is by Hal Needham.
I think you did send that to me, and I probably
Of course I did. I'm not going to fucking make... I've never told a lie on this show.
I probably did.
I know. You did
like
call me a nerd. You're like, or dork or something like that.
So, but yeah, no, it's a fun little movie. You know, it's something that is not like action packed where people are running through the house and the aliens are chasing them. You know, you're not getting that that wonderful McPherson tape inspired short from Jason.
Oh,
From
alien abduction slumber party. What was it?
Yeah. Whatever the title was, which is probably
that film is amazing.
It's
that
one
film
of the
is
best,
amazing.
It's one of the best things ever, and obviously it's inspired by these two films. But if that's what you're wanting, watch that. This is that slower.
Yeah, so that's VHS 2, right? Because I think that was the last segment. The second one.
Yeah, I think it's the second one because
it's amazing. It's like if Amblin Entertainment did a shot on video movie. It's so good. And I was really nervous for that slot for VHS 2 because VHS 1 has like the perfect button with 103196. But I might like Alien Abduction Slumber Party better.
Yeah. If you're wanting something more action-packed with aliens attacking people, then that's probably your route. This one has a lot of eating and talking, and a card game that goes on for a very, very long time.
It's like E.T., just like E.T.
It's made to feel more real because, you know, this kid just got his video camera and he's
Mau.
And it doesn't look the best as far as like quality because it's shot on video and it's, you know, probably second, third generations of tape. But I mean, I think the creep factor can still stand if you're into this sort of thing. It's very well done for the time that it was done in, as far as even having non-actors for the most part, and then also being directed by a kid. It's very well done. I do prefer the remake of it because I think that one's definitely more well done. The acting is way better, and it seems very authentic. And the scares are better because I think it's more visible. You can see what's going on as well. Unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to ever get released because of what Dean said about the rights, but you know, it's something that you can find if you
Hey man, Spookies is on Blu-ray. Anything is possible.
That is true. But from, you know, there are some films that are doomed that will never see another release. And this could be one of them. Who knows? There are things that do fall through the cracks and rights do get lost in shuffles. Do
you think the movie The Forgotten will ever be forgotten?
No, because it has that really good car wreck, right? That's the movie with the car accident. That's really well done.
All I really remember from The Forgotten, I didn't even mean to say what I know about Forgotten, but all I remember from it is when Julianne Moore is talking to like a detective, and then all of a sudden the aliens abduct the detective, and she just gets like sucked into the sky. I thought that was a cool image.
Yeah, I if we want to talk about some alien abduction movies to pair with this, I think that would be fun.
Well, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
or anything to pair with it, really.
I mean, I think Fire in the Sky is definitely one of the better.
Does one of us have to do a New Zealand accent though?
No.
Okay.
So I think Fire in the Sky is very good. One movie that I really do like that I don't think gets very much play is Dark Skies. I think is a very, very good alien abduction movie with Kerry Russell. That's one of my favorites. And I think that movie gets forgotten about quite a bit.
Yeah. It must suck to be Kerry Russell. Because Kerry Russell's like one of the most beautiful people on the planet, and then she cuts her hair for Felicity, and that's all anyone could talk about for like 15 years later until JJ drags her back out again, you know. God bless Jage. But
Then he puts that helmet on her, and all you can see is her eyes.
Yeah, what the fuck was that about? How do you get one of the most gorgeous people ever, and then you put a helmet on him? Like, where else have they done that? Elijah Wood or no, Michael Fassbender and Frank, right? Like Michael Fassbender, and you put a fucking Bob's Big Boy head on him? Like, that man looks like sex. Like, let me see the Faz, you know? But what would I pair with it? I don't know.
VHS 2? Who knows?
No, maybe what I do is I chase the. All right, so this is a little bit of a different pairing because I don't necessarily want to watch like alien abduction stuff right after a very solid alien abduction film, because then you're kind of trying to have a dick measuring contest between two similarly themed movies. But what I would like to do is do something documentary style, a little bit lighter. And around maybe the group of people that would believe UFO abduction's real. I would recommend following it up with Vernon, Florida by Errol Morris. That's what I would do.
Oh, the Dundee Project by
Mark Borchardt.
Yeah, he has that little documentary.
When you try to like pee so people can't hear you because like maybe you don't want people to know you're in the house, and then do you do that thing where you try to aim for the porcelain to mute it so the pee just quietly goes into the water? Because I feel as a having to urinate the way that I'm built, I feel like it really kind of telegraphs my location. I guess I'm thinking about the dark forest theory still. Or do you sit down so you can get like even closer to the porcelain?
So I think it's the Phoenix Tapes 97, because there's Phoenix Forgotten, which isn't a very good movie. But there's called the Phoenix Tapes 97, and it's a kind of a mockumentary about this footage that is recovered during this. I think they're doing the documentary, then they uncover the footage of a missing persons case from this group of backpackers that were abducted. I think that's really, really well done. I really like small town abduction stuff rather than, I still like Independence Day and Battle Los Angeles. I still think those are fun, but I really do like the one-on-one alien invasion movies. I think the first bit of Signs is very well done. The Whitley Strieber,
before it becomes Night of the Living Dead.
Well, before it becomes like the overall story, I just think it's kind of, silly. I do like the alien stuff in the beginning.
Right. What like is the way they build the menace with that SOV footage, right? Isn't it like a videotape where you see the alien walking the granite?
There's like this guy, there's the alien on the, shed that's looking over the house. It's very, very creepy. It's very well done, aside from the overall story, where I still like the movie, but it doesn't feel like an alien movie after that.
Do you want to hear my Signs joke really quick?
Sure.
Why does Signs suck?
I don't know.
Because the twist doesn't hold water.
Wow. That's kind of funny, but not. And then what else is there? Like low key alien abduction movies. What's the one with based off the Whitley Strieber book that
Communion?
Yeah, Communion. I think that's pretty well done too. But yeah, stuff like that I think is good pairing with this. I really like those aspects, and then also documentaries. Like I said, Mirage Men is a very good documentary going around kind of the history of what apparently these government agents would do in order to try to cover up UFOs being talked about, or aliens, or whatever it may be.
at the core, there is something that they want to keep people away from, a real truth. Back in the early 80s, it was my job to confuse the UFO community. And it was very easy to convince Paul. Paul was a World War II veteran. He's very patriotic. He always flew his flag. Those type of people you can convince that, listen, you can't tell anybody else about this because this, you get in the wrong hands.
Would we use perception to help shroud what we're trying to protect? Absolutely. If you've got an aerial platform that is highly advanced and the public who happens to get a glimpse of the thing, if they're convinced that it's from Venus and there's no way it could be our military, well, hey, that's awesome. Hell yes.
It's been a cover story in the U.S. for a long time. Tell the media, tell anybody who will listen, that they're using UFOs to cover up advanced technology, when the truth is exactly the opposite of the words.
We're really a byproduct of extraterrestrial intervention.
What if we're their farm animals? What if they eat us psychically? I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities here that are not good.
Doty had this wonderful way to sell it. I'm with the government. You cooperate with us, and I'm going to tell you what the government really knows about UFOs deep down in those vaults. I'm going to tell you all kinds of lies.
Whatever's going on, it's happening at a government level. Everything that I do is being watched. And I have to assume that I'm being bugged.
Let's take one step at a time. You're looking at Richard Doty, the professional disinformer, trained to lie.
It's a neat, I think the history behind it and the making of it and what it developed into is far more intriguing than the movie itself, but still a very enjoyable chunk of cinema history. For sure. SOV history. There we go.
SOV history. Yeah, I guess one of my closing thoughts is just around what you were just talking about with like Mirage Men and stuff, like the tales of the government coming in to shut down these stories. And I was thinking about a documentary that Lance Munguia made last year called Third Eye Spies, about a government project that started in the 60s and went through the 90s, basically. I think it ended in like 2001 or so. Yes, it ended in 2001 because, the interest with the CIA shifted to counterterrorism. But anyway, there was this super top secret government program that dealt with telekinesis. And the documentary interviews a lot of the people that worked with the government, even former officials and whatnot, and they tell you in the documentary shit they would have to do to people to get them to not be believed or to stay quiet. It was pretty out there, to have that corroborated. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of drinking the Kool-Aid here, and final answer is I am team. This is real footage.
That this is real footage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You're right. This we're actually getting paid by the government to create this show to talk about
Marvel and the government.
Yeah, I wonder if AGFA. I should ask if AGFA had any emails about this being real. That's interesting. Yeah. I'll have to check to see if they had any messages or anything, because there's still a group of people that believe that shit. So
rad. Well, Brad, I think that brings us to the end of our conversation this week. But I want to talk about next week. Now, at the end of last week's episode, we said that we were going to watch this, and then we did. Okay, so I guess we should tell people what they're going to watch next week. So do you want to do that?
I guess there's a little fun story.
Being on a show with you, Brett, I feel like I'm talking a lot, and you're You're historically quiet, so pull your weight. Go.
What? All right. So we're doing Garden Tool Massacre next, which is a somewhat lost shot on video film made in Ohio, I believe. Made in the 90s. Didn't get really distribution at the time. SRS Cinema, Ron Bonk has acquired the rights to the film and re-released it on Blu-ray with a limited edition. The Garden Tool Massacre is also the fictitious film in The Blob. So I remember when I tweeted about it, people thought it was that, like it was like a joke, you know, kind of like how it was like Cavity Colors or Fright Rags made that Zeke the Plumber t-shirt, you know, this fake movie, or that was like in Salute Your Shorts, I think. You know, but no, this is a real movie, and it was funny.
That's by the writer of Cutting Class.
Really?
Yeah, the guy who wrote the Zeke the Plumber episode wrote Cutting Class, bro.
I had no idea. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really funny because I was excited about it and I tweeted about it, and my tweet kind of blew up, and it was really funny being it's a shot on video movie. But the same thing happened with Frankie and his pals. And then I got a message from Ron Bonk saying, hey, that tweet you did like really, really helped out. And he had to print up like another 100 or something because he was getting so many requests and orders. So yeah, we're gonna, I haven't watched it in a very long time, so I have to rewatch it. And we can talk about it then. Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure being on the show with you, Mike, and I love you dearly.
I love you. You know, I'm just like kidding sometimes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You didn't tell anybody about the, I'm pointing to my cheek. You didn't tell anybody about the,
I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Okay, good. You're doing good, Brett. That's what you keep saying, okay?
Okay.
People of planet Earth, who will save you now? You've had your fun, but the clock is winding down. Yeah, even though you are sexy and wear fancy clothes, we've infiltrated your stupid government. How could this happen, you ask? It was, how you say, not very hard, actually. Humans down to rest. It's gonna be just like the